In today's video, I'm going to share with you a behind the scenes look at vintage reseller life. I'm going to share with you my booth sales report for the second 2 weeks of December. I've already done the first 2 weeks of December. If you are interested in seeing that video, I will put a link to that video in the description. On December 26th, I had a video go viral, and that video has thousands of comments. Over and over again, the comment that I received in response to the topic of the video, which was, "These vintage items won't sell in your antique booth." I got several people who commented and said, well, what does sell then? And so I do have a couple of those videos on my channel that are just like consistent bestseller videos, but I also have an entire playlist of these booth sale reports videos that I do on a monthly basis. So for the second 2 weeks of December, my paycheck was $319.50. The first 2 weeks of December was a little bit better, and I ended up bringing home a little over $800 from my antique booth during the month of December. Now, not all months are as good as December. Obviously, we have lots of holiday shoppers during the month of December, so not all months are going to be that good for me. Also, that number does not include the rent that I pay for my space, and it does not include the amount that I spent on all of these items. So, as you can see, at least for me, vintage resale is not enough for me to be able to make a full-time income on it. However, I know that there are people who are able to do that. It's just not where I'm at yet. So for every single item that I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to tell you how much I paid for it, how much it sold for, and what the corresponding profit margin that sale represented for me was. If you are curious, the formula that I use to calculate profit margin, just go into the comments section and type formula, and I will share it with you in the comments. Also, for those of you who are commenting that you want to see more of my pets in my videos, make sure that you stay until the end. I do have pet outtakes at the end of this video too. First off, I should probably mention that I'm not sharing every single item that's sold. If I did that, the video would just go on too long. I should also mention that I only sell smalls. I rarely sell furniture. I used to flip furniture. I bought a ton of furniture, painted it or refinished it, and sold it. And it was my dream to be able to make it in the antique booth without having to work on furniture anymore. And so that is what I've been able to do in my current antique booth. So all of these sales for the month of December were smalls, and I did not sell a single piece of furniture. The first thing that I want to share with you is a coffee mug from Lennox. It's their Temperware line. The pattern was Magic Garden. And I wasn't sure about these. They kind of looked a little bit like grandma cottage or whatever, but that seems to be all the rage right now, honestly. I paid 62 cents per coffee cup. I sold one for $6.30, and that is a 90% profit margin on this little coffee cup. When I'm telling you the price that it sold for, that does include the 10% commission that I pay to the store on every single purchase. So basically, I pay rent based on the square footage of my booth. We pay 10% on every single item that we sell to the owner of the store, and we work 2 days at the store where we don't get paid, and all of that is part of our rent requirement to the antique store. That was a mouthful. Rent requirements. Next up, I sold a deviled egg dish. It was a clear glass one with a hobnail along the bottom of it. It was heavy. Deviled egg dishes generally sell really well for me. I paid $3.31 for it. It sold for $23.40 for a nice profit margin of 86%. I have also seen people describe these as oyster dishes, which is interesting. They could definitely be used for both. Next up, I sold a Beatrix Potter Collectible Peter Rabbit cup. I paid $0 for it because it was part of a gift haul that I received from a friend. It sold for $16.20, so it actually sold for $18. These are highly collectible. And after the store took their 10% commission, that left me with $16.20. Because I didn't spend any money on it and it was a gift, that was a 100% profit margin for me. I sold a single bowl from the company Louisville Stoneware, and it was one of their patterns with the ducks on it. I paid $1.49 for it. It sold for $9, and the profit margin for that was 83%. In my most recent upload, which was a Goodwill thrift haul, I found a jar from the Louisville Stoneware Company, and I just paid $2.09 for it. It was their Classy Cats pattern, and apparently I got quite the find. It's in my thumbnail for that video. This is the video that's going to be in the end card. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch it. I had several people commenting that I was underpricing the Classy Cats jar if I just priced it at $28. But the reason why I wasn't so sure is because of the duck bowls that I had. They sat in the booth for about a year. I had 4 of them to start with, and 2 of them sold pretty quickly, but the other 2 sat there for about a year, and they were only priced at $10. So that's why I was hesitant to put a price on the Crazy Cats jar that was comparable to what I was seeing on Etsy and eBay, is because in the antique booth, I just don't have that customer base that you are able to attract when you sell online. You are able to attract a much wider audience of customers when you sell online. And of course, you pay eBay and Etsy for that massive search engine that they operate for you with your listing fees. Okay, so for all of the people who make fun of Beanie Babies, they sell really well for me. I generally pay $1.11 plus tax for them at Goodwill, and they consistently sell for $10. During the second 2 weeks of December, I sold 6 Beanie Babies. I like to have something that draws children into my booth, and Beanie Babies kind of fit the bill, but I have found that it's not just kids who like Beanie Babies. Adults like them too. They remember them from their childhood, and the young adults who come into our store, well, their childhood was in the 1990s, and the 1990s are vintage now. So if you feel like making fun of Beanie Babies, it's not going to hurt my feeling. They have been a consistent good seller for me in the booth, and they're just fun. The next thing that sold was something that I put in the booth every single Christmas for like the last 4 years, took out of the booth after Christmas, and just kind of held it in inventory all year because it never sold, but it finally sold this holiday season. It was a Christmas hot drink insulated beverage server by Nikko out of Japan, and it was a 1980s really cool piece, I thought. I paid $3.31 for it. It sold for $19.80 for a profit margin of 83%. Recently, I had a couple of viewers tell me that I really should consider dedicating at least a portion of my booth to Christmas all year long, and I am considering that. I love vintage Christmas, and it's always out in the thrift stores, and it's always at estate sales. So I'm really thinking about doing that, and if I do, I will bring you along on that journey in a video where I create a Christmas section all year round for my antique booth. The next thing that I want to share with you was a piece of Fireking in the color Peach Luster. I love this color, but I will be honest with you, it just doesn't show up well, and it's difficult to photograph. I'm going to show you a picture here of an Etsy shop owner who just did a great job photographing this stuff, and where the peach really pops in this photo. I had it marked at $14 and it sold for $10. Whoever was working the register that day wrote down on the tag that it was damaged, and I didn't realize that it was. It might have had a chip in it that I just didn't see. So they offered it to the customer for $10 and it sold. So I got $9 off of that sale, and I forgot to write down the profit margin. I just realized that, but it's okay. It was my last piece of Fireking Peach Luster that I had in the booth, and it did sit there for quite some time. It's just not a very popular color or pattern. Even though I like it, doesn't mean that everybody does. The next thing that sold was a cup and saucer set from Pfaltzgraff, and the pattern was called Remembrance. I have footage of the dogs at the end of this video, and I also have a little helper. This is Penny. I paid $1.49 for the set. It sold for $9 for a profit margin of 83%. The next thing that sold was a lovely large CorningWare casserole in the pattern Spice of Life. It has the vegetables on it. It's a really cute pattern, very 70s looking. I believe that this pattern was also made into the 1980s. I paid $7.14 for my dish. It did have its lid. It sold for $29.70 for a profit margin of 76%. Next, I sold a champagne glass. It's Libbey, and the pattern is called Golden Foliage. It's just an iconic mid-century pattern. I paid $1.49 for it. It sold for $8.10 for a profit margin of 82%. And the last thing is a citrus juicer. It's almost funny how quickly these things fly off the shelves. I have no idea why people love them as much as they do, but they do. I paid $3.31 for this one, so I paid a little bit too much. Usually I can find these for between $1 and $2, and it sold for $10.80 for a profit margin of just 69%. But I'm telling you, these things sell, especially when they have a bright color on the lid, like orange or yellow. All right, well, that's it. There were a lot more smalls that sold during the second 2 weeks of December, but those were some of the ones that I thought were more interesting or where I could show you a good photo of them. I hope that you found today's video valuable in terms of what kinds of things are actually selling and how much they are selling for. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. We're going on an adventure. Bear, are you excited? Bear. Ruby, are you excited? You are. Got you, Bear. We're going somewhere. Ruby.
Did you have fun?